What's up, guys? This is Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our aABL Season 4 Red League recap. I'm doing this a little bit earlier than I would have liked to, but it's also been like a month or more since I actually played my last game of the season, so I wanted to get this out sooner rather than later. It's been on my to-do list for a while, and I figured now is a better time than ever. So, I noticed in my last season recap that the layout and my logo cut off a lot of stuff that I was trying to talk about, so I'm definitely going to try and make sure you guys can see everything while still having the layout, because I think the layout's kind of important to show off that it's the Ladner Lanturn playing, and I don't know. We've got the aABL red logo in the bottom right corner. That was the league that we were part of for aABL Season 4. And I'm going to start a trip down memory lane here. I believe it was around March, actually it says the last edit was March 30th, so around late March then that we started this, and it's now the middle of July, so obviously we've had our logo updated. Jed updated our logo from what Chris had made, but here was our old logo. There, it's pretty cool. I didn't do a really professional job on this draft recap, I kind of just went through it. But not up to my normal standards with the stats and stuff, but it's kind of cool. We ended up taking Mega Gardevoir in round 1 because Victini got sniped, and that's what I really wanted. And we'd actually seen Magic use Mega Gardevoir really well in NCL Season 1, and I thought I'd build a neat team around it, which I didn't really do. Then we drafted Rotom-Wash round 2. I don't regret Rotom-Wash. Rotom-Wash was a very reliable pivot all season. It's not my favorite Rotom form, to be completely honest with you. Hydro Pump sucks, man. Hydro Pump is so bad. That's really what turned me off of Rotom-Wash was the Hydro Pump. I much prefer Rotom Heat and Rotom Mow. I'm a lot more used to using both of them as well. We drafted Skarmory. Skarmory sucks. I hate Skarmory. I hate using Skarmory, and we'll talk more about that later. Flygon, which didn't even, I think it saw one game worth of action, and then we dropped it. I hated Flygon too, not a fan. Incineroar, which I enjoyed using at the time, but looking back at the stats, I really didn't like it. It felt forced to come so many times and just wasn't that great. Serena, another mon that I hate using, I just hate using it. It just can't secure kills, and it needs to fill the function of a defensive pivot so many times. Aselgor is one of the very few mons on this team that I enjoy using quite a bit. I love using Aselgor. I loved using it in LET Season 1, and I loved using it here. Weavile, another Pokemon I love to use offensively. It's just so strong. Nidoking, oh my god, I'm such a huge fan of Nidoking, and I think I'm really good at using Nidoking. Again, that's another point we'll touch on later. Girder, I actually do enjoy running Girder, as niche as it is. I think it's probably one of the better tier 5 picks, and it just steamrolled a lot of... it had a few matches where it could have steamrolled. Excuse me. Dusclops was It came like twice, and it didn't do a whole lot for me. I wouldn't really pick it again, I don't think. And Ambipom, which I am actually a huge fan of using, but it didn't find the role on this team. And part of the reason for that is that we had 12 picks, and I really didn't feel comfortable building with 12 mons and prepping for 12 mons. I think in general 12 is a number that you can work with in points drafts, a lot easier than in tier drafts. And I guess I'll just touch on that now. I know that they're going to have like a suggestion box, but this was one of the suggestions that I'm going to make in this suggestion box, is that 12 is too many. I think 11 is perfectly fine. And also, I had an issue with not being able to trade tier 1s for other tier 1s. You were only allowed to drop tier 1s and tier 2s for tier 3 and below, which is the same rule we had in D&D, and I didn't have that problem in D&D because I didn't hate the tier 1 that I drafted, but I really hated Skarmory, man. I would have loved to have dropped Skarmory for something else. This thing was just so bad, and I just hated every second of using Skarmory on this team, and another tier 1 in that slot would have just been so much more useful on this team. I don't know. It wasn't great. I don't know, it really wasn't great. We picked Z users. I picked Flygon, Weavile, and Dusclops. I picked Dusclops for Z Memento because we were allowed to use it. Didn't bring it ever. I didn't bring Z Flygon when I brought it. I ended up bringing Z Weavile once. I think I brought SD Groundium Z Weavile. I was intending to use Poisonium Z Weavile because Weavile with Acid Downpour is actually really strong. And then we ended up dropping something for Flygon for something else. excuse me, which I'll just touch on in a second here. Oh, goodness. And that was forced to take the Z. So whatever drop we made was forced to pick up the Z move from that. Another rule that I wasn't a huge fan of. I can understand why, kind of, but at the same time, I definitely wouldn't have made Minior a Z user, and we'll touch on why I have Minior. I didn't really have any other better users. Maybe I would have gone like Z Rotom or something, or Z Incineroar even, for the regular Z move, but whatever. Oh, pardon me. Whenever I'm going to talk too much, I always yawn. So in terms of transactions that we made some transactions. We dropped Flygon for Minior. We dropped Ambipom or Ambipomba for Venomoth, which is what I would have made the Z user if I was given the option. And then late in the season, we dropped a Selgor for Swallow. This actually took a really long time to go through. I ended up dropping this, I want to say it was like week 6 that I actually had like put in my application to drop it, and it didn't go active until like week 10. I think was the first time that I could actually use it, which was honestly kind of depressing. It was just unfortunate the way things worked out. I feel like Tyler ended up running most of Red League by himself, and that was a little bit too stressful for someone who didn't really have experience with it either. So I don't know. Oh, you guys can't actually see this. I'm ridiculous. There you go. We dropped a Selgor for Swallow. I definitely said that I was going to talk about that, but yeah, so we dropped a Selgor for Swallow. Minior was actually pretty okay, and Venomoth turned out to be a lot better of a pick than Ambipom was. So despite me ending up with not having a Dragon type, I think the team functioned all right. What's next? Standings. So we ended up finishing. This isn't correct. We actually did finish 5th. We did not make playoffs. Unfortunately, we lost out based on differential to the UNC Wingles and Jay. My good buddy Jay had a 4+4 differential with the same record as us, so we actually did end up finishing in 5th. It's only sorted this way because the standings aren't sorted by differential for whatever reason. They're sorted alphabetically, so because I have the same record as Jay, but I'm alphabetically higher than him, that's why we ended up in 4th, even though we actually finished 5th. There was hope for me to make playoffs all the way until the last week, but I think because Jay ended up beating Krabby, we got screwed out of a playoff spot. Essentially, there was like a 10% chance or something that we made playoffs. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. I really feel like it could have gone well for us because we would have matched up against Jake, who we had just beaten in week 10, and I think that I had a decent matchup against Jake. I actually think we could have made semifinals if we made playoffs, and Ben kind of got a little lucky in our match. I don't know if I would have won that match if things were another way around or not, but it is potentially possible that we may have made finals if we make playoffs because of the 2 potential matchups that would have happened. So the finals actually haven't happened yet. We do know who's going to be in the finals, so I'll just release that. But the Blue League finals and the Yellow League finals are already done. This one's just like pushed back a long time because Dan is part of the finals and he is having his baby. Actually, he's kind of Mia right now, so we're just sort of assuming that they've had the baby and that's what's going on. But as you can see here, Jake ended up losing to Jay, and then Ben beat D. Danley, and then Ben beat Jay. Ben and Jay are both good friends of mine, and so I was really happy to see them there. Dom is another good friend of mine. He ended up winning the first round and then losing to Dan in the second round in the other conference. So that was really unfortunate because I was really hoping to see Dom versus Ben or Jay in the finals. I think that would have been really cool to see friends battling it out in such a big league that was randomized to get into. But instead, we're seeing Ben versus Dan, so I'm going to cheer for Ben the entire way. Ben smacked Dan in the regular season 5-0 with Zap Cannon Registeel absolutely caught Dan off guard and smacked a Pidgeot in the face. I think that's going to be pretty fun to watch, but that's the standings. And then going down the schedule, I mean, it was only a 10-week season, so we ended up starting April and going until, when was it, June 17th. So we ended up beating Jake. He was undefeated throughout the entire season until our match in week 10. Excuse me. And that's kind of what it looked like. So yeah, I don't know. There wasn't really much more to say about that. In terms of the scheduling, I mean, we ended up playing D-Danley week 1 in a matchup that I thought was fairly winnable for me, and took the L there. Played Ben in week 2, took the L. It was really unfortunate. We played Devin in week 3, who I'm undefeated against lifetime, and we beat him. So that was a match I was expecting to win just because of my record against Devin, but he put up a much better fight than he did in the game that we had before that. Then we beat Jay in a really close match that we'll go through a little bit later. We lost to Krabby in a game that I probably should have won. I misplayed and ended up losing because I misplayed. So that was really bad. And then we lost to Dom in a game that relied on a roll. That was actually a 50% chance that we won that game, 50% chance we lost based on Tornadus Psychic against my Nidoking. We went through all the sets. I had a 50% chance of winning that game, and unfortunately the luck wasn't on my side. Then we lost to Andy in week 7 in another game that we should have won. If I hit one Hydro Pump or I win a speed tie on Rotom Heat, then we win that game with my Scarf Rotom-Wash. It actually could have cleaned up his team. It was really strange to me that he brought Rhydon plus Golurk in prep against a Rotom-Wash team. I was like, why are you bringing both your ground types against Rotom-Wash Serena? Didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Rhydon did nothing that game except get rocks up, which in the end I don't remember if it mattered. I'm pretty sure I defogged them. Then we beat Ruben and the Dallas Cabellions. That was a game that I really desperately needed to win to get back in the playoff race, because at this point, after losing to Andy, we were 2-5, which was really horrible. Not my best season, that's for sure. Then we ended up beating Echo Reaver and the Denver Rapidash, another really close game. One that I actually didn't think I had the matchup in, but we ended up coming out on top. He had a really scary team. And then we beat Jake in week 10, who was undefeated, and I was like, if I can win this game, this is going to be really clutch. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. Like, I probably could have lost a few games a little bit better than I did to end up with a -1 differential at the end of things. Considering I was 5 differential off of making playoffs, it's a little bit sad from my perspective, because I really do feel that I was potentially a playoff caliber team based on how the standings sort of fleshed themselves out, but I just couldn't pull it together, I guess, in the times that I needed to. So yeah, I guess we'll just go through my prep doc. And for those of you who are new to the channel and haven't seen one of my season recaps, I have a prep doc that you'll see right now, and I make this for all of my leagues with the sprites and the speed tiering and everything. And what I think is coming is in yellow normally, what I don't think is coming is in orange, and then what they actually brought is in green. I list priority, their hazards such as their hazard removers, their 4x weaknesses, and then I list what I'm speed creeping over for my team builder purposes. It also helps me in the battle to remember what I'm speed creeping over. I list the week that the match is going to happen and when the match is actually happening in my time zone, of course. And I do this throughout all the weeks, so you'll notice that there's all these tabs. You can't see it, and you actually won't be able to see it because the layout's hindering it, but I have all of the weeks in tabs at the bottom. Excuse me. So week 1 we played D-Danley, and I was expecting the Hoopa. I was actually really expecting Salamence against me. I can't remember what else caught me off guard, but I was bringing a really cool team with Scarf Flygon, and he ended up bringing Shuka Cobalion, and it kind of demolished me. In the end, the Hoopa with webs didn't really matter a whole lot, and I didn't bring a lot to beat the Hoopa outside of like Mega Gardevoir and a Selgor. I brought this really cool trapping Dusclops set. Shoutouts to Jay for that. It ended up trapping the Araquanid and killing it with Toxic, but I misplayed around that, and he managed to get webs up on me because I miscalculated Toxic damage after the leftovers. So this was our first team. We brought a Sash, a Selgor with Bug Buzz to deal with the Hoopa, Final Gambit, just for reasons, and then I brought Spikes and T-Spikes because they actually looked really good against his team. And the removal option that he brought against me was Cryogonal. Like, he doesn't have great removal on this team. It's like Cryogonal, Claydol, and Comfy. Granted, 2 of those and Salamence, sorry, gets defog as well. Granted, 3 of those removers are immune, but Spikes looked so good against his team, and T-Spikes looked really good against things like the Araquanid. I was really scared of a Toxic Heal Breloom, but he ended up being Technician Mach Punch. we were just a Whirlwind, Brave, like a very standard defensive Skarmory set to deal with the Cobalion, I think was the main idea, or to deal with the Salamence, I think, as well. Mega Manectric kind of tore my team apart as well. This is the trapping set with Nightshade Toxic, Being Look and Rest. Excuse me. He had, whoops, we'll get to that later. He had very poor knockoff users on this team. I think only Hoopa. Yeah, I'm fairly certain that only Hoopa is his only knockoff. Oh, and Cryogonal. Hoopa and Cryogonal are the only knockoff users on his team, so Dusclops seemed like it was a good idea and a good bring. Banded Weavile was really cool because it could pick off Salamence pretty easily. That was the main idea. It could also pick off the Cobalion with a Brick Break, and I was able to do that actually. No, was it the Cobalion that I was able to catch that with? I think it was. I think it was the Cobalion that I was able to catch that out with. Brick Break was also there for the Cryogonal, especially if you wanted to bring like a Aurora Veil, like Hail into Manual Veil, would have been kind of cool. Honestly, Banded Weavile like did a number to his team, and unfortunately it didn't get to do as much as I wanted it to. Scarf Flygon was horrible, and honestly Defog should have been on Skarmory, but it was on Flygon, so I was forced to go into Flygon to Defog, and he wasn't scared on Cobalion, and like he wasn't scared of the Earthquake because he was Shucko, so like what did it matter? And honestly, it was really weird. He played really well, and he scouted that I was Scarf, and he Volt Switched on the turn that I was forced to switch out, which I actually went into Skarmory on, so he brought a really cool Cobalion set against me. And then Mega Gardevoir didn't do anything. It really did nothing, even though it looked so good against him. He had 0 Hyper Voice Switch-ins outside of the Chansey, which is what I had the Psyshock there for, and it was just really sad. Honestly, I could have played that game a lot better. Week 2, we took on Ben. He surprised me by not bringing Registeel. Like, he only brought Jirachi to eat hits from Mega Gardevoir, but Shadow Ball is so good against him too with Cofagrigus, so I was really weirded out. I talked to him after the game, and I don't know, we're friends now, but I'm still extremely confused about why he didn't bring Registeel against a Mega Gardevoir team. I mean, I didn't even bring a Mega Gardevoir because I just had better matchups with other things, but it was very strange to me that he didn't bring Registeel. Extremely strange. Magmortar caught me off guard. Buzzwole caught me off guard. Buzzwole looked like it really didn't have a good matchup against my team, and he brought it, so I was blown away. But I had prepped for this, and actually this was the one match that I did a mock for the entire season, and I brought a really cool Rotom-Wash set with Will-O-Wisp and Hex to deal with the Buzzwole. I got low rolled on the Thunderous Therian a couple times with my Hex, otherwise I actually probably could have won that game with the Rotom-Wash if I got a little bit of a higher roll on the Thunderous. It ended up living on 2% at the end of the game. And I could have Pain Split up on the Jirachi, which is what his last mon was, as long as I didn't get flinched. I can't remember what his set was. Actually, I do. He was like especially defensive with Wish. Rotom-Wash absolutely could have stalled that thing out to win the game if I'd killed the Thunderous with the last Hex. Because he switched in twice on Hex, which I think was really risky, because it was his main win con against my team, and that just ended up playing out poorly. So yeah, he barely brought any bulk against me. No Suicune and no Registeel was very surprising. Magmortar was really weird. He brought a Mach Punch Magmortar to deal with Weavile. And Buzzwole, again, was kind of strange. He might have brought it just for the Weavile. I really wasn't sure at the time, because like things like Skarmory just hard wall Buzzwole, things like Mega Gardevoir can Oko Buzzwole, things like Dusclops can hard wall the Buzzwole as well. So I was just a little bit weirded out by that. So that team we brought, so we brought the Will-O-Wisp Hex set on the Rotom-Wash. We brought Life Orb, Weavile with Metal Claw, and Weavile picked up 3 kills this game. It was amazing. We low-kicked something to death. Buzzwole, maybe? Well, we killed Buzzwole with the Weavile, and then we Mega DNC switched in, and I was like, ha, you don't know that I have Metal Claw, and I Metal Clawed it in the face, and it died. And I killed something else. Oh, Magmortar. I killed with Magmortar with Knockoff and died to my Life Orb Recoil. We brought in Assault Vest and Incineroar to deal with the Thunderous, and we actually got paralyzed, which was really sucked. It really sucked. Seems to be a theme when I battle Ben. If you guys have seen my NCL match against him, he paralyzed my Sylveon with Zapdos, and that was just really bad. Scarf Nidoking, which could have cleaned up the game if he wasn't Scarf Thunderous, but he was. Aya Papa Berry Spidef Skarmory, which I think was a really cool idea, and it just ended up not being the best that it could be. I brought a Black Belt Serena with High Jump Kick to deal with the Registeel, because I really had nothing better to deal with Registeel, and It didn't even come. So Serena was almost entirely useless that game. I think I rapid spun away rocks or something, and the Magmortar burned me, and then it was just like complete sack fodder. It was really bad. Then week 3 we took on Devin, and towards Decidueye, my entire strat was to spike stack him. He had a powerful team, but he had no switch-ins to anything. With this team, it was sort of like just get something in and go. Komao, it was very strange. He ended up like close combating me a bunch of times, and then he started setting up Dragon Dances. The one turn that I switched, it was really weird. I wasn't sure what was going on in that game, to be completely honest. And he brought like a Mind Plate Pirouette Meloetta, which was also kind of strange to me. I don't know. It was interesting. And things like Lycanroc Dusk, which I thought were decent against my team, just didn't come and things like that. So I did. This is when I made my drops for Venomoth and Minior. Rid of Flygon and stuff then. Instead of week 2, I still had them, but I ended up dropping them for week 3. I don't know, no Mew against me was kind of interesting as well. He really had nothing to deal with Mega Gardevoir on this team except Mega Aggron, which I think switched in and just got whittled down or something. I can't exactly remember, but it was kind of a neat game. I ended up spike stacking him with Skarmory. I got all my hazards up, and then he was just like switching in and taking like 50% on things like Kyurem Black. It was a fun game. Assault Vest Serena, which did nothing once again. Serena is so bad. Mega Gardevoir, which I actually don't remember if it did anything. Subcom Mind looked like so good against his team. Specs Rotom also looked really good against his team. Bulk Up Girder looked really solid against his team. And then, unfortunately for my Girder, he was actually like adamant offensive, like adamant max attack Mega Aggron. And so we couldn't eat the heavy slams as well as I wanted to, because I was just the plan was to just keep bulking up on the Mega Aggron, but it didn't work out that way, unfortunately. And then Life Orb Nidoking also just plowed a hole through his team, and I don't remember if it even actually saw any play, but Life Orb Nidoking looked so good. Week 4, we took on Jay and the UNC Wingles, and I expected everything on his team. I had nothing that I wasn't expecting. He brought a weird Archeops set. It was Focus Sash, Endeavor, Rocks, U-Turn or something. Very strange. He brought Screens Volbeat against me, which I guess made sense. I think it was just Light Screen actually to deal with Mega Gardevoir, because his best answer to Mega Gardevoir was Klinklang, which he brought. This is like a hyper offense team, right? He actually didn't even bring the Holucha or the Mega Tyranitar, both of which I had prepped so hard for. He brought a strange Coco set, if I remember correctly. I can't exactly remember. He brought like Scarf Starmie and like physically defensive Tangrowth, I want to say. I can't exactly remember on that one either. No Linoon was another surprise. No Gligar, so he really only had Archeops for rocks that game, but no Alolan Marowak, which also tore my team apart. It was really strange. I brought Sash Selgor. I led with it against the Archeops, and I got a Water Shuriken off. I got 5 hits on the first Water Shuriken to put it into Defeatist range, and that was actually a fun time for Selgor. Ended up getting 2 layers of spikes up, which actually stayed the entire game, I think, because he never had a chance to Rapid Spin with the Starmie, and I was really happy about the spikes damage that I got off, because it ended up helping Nidoking win the game. My AV Nidoking was my only response to Tapu Koko on my entire team was AV Nidoking, and it put in work, man. AV Nidoking won me the game. Sludge Wave ended up killing the Tangrowth at the end. Ended up killing the Tapu Koko with Sludge Wave 2 or something. Same with the Archeops, I think. Archeops switched in and like ate the Sludge Wave, and then I ended up killing the Starmie with Sucker Punch. Oh, I killed the Klinklang with Sucker Punch because he kept shitting. He was setting up Shift Gears, and then I knew he was going to attack me, so I Sucker Punched. He lived. He set up another Shift Gear, and then thought I would overpredict, and I killed him with Sucker Punches. That was really cool. I enjoyed that Nidoking set. Life Orb Venomoth almost did work. I think it killed something, and then Klinklang just set up on it. But Tinted Lens Pokebuzz was amazing. This Gardevoir set looked cool in prep, but it did nothing against his team. Same with the Rocky Helmet and Incineroar. Did absolutely nothing. Rocky Helmet and Incineroar was mainly there for the Alola Marowak, which did nothing. It was also there for the Thingamajigger, the Mega Tyranitar. Again, did nothing. I had Destiny Bond Mega Gardevoir on here for the Holucha to force it to SD on me, and then I could Hyper Voice it or Will-O-Wisp it. And I actually had the Dusclops on here for the Holucha as well with the Will-O-Wisp, and I brought Curse to boost my defense on it. And basically the strategy with this Dusclops set was to trap something in, burn it, Curse up, and Pain Split until it was dying to burn damage. It was pretty hilarious. It's just another trapping set. Week 5, we took on... Who did we take on week 5? We took on Krabby and the Hitmontop boss. No Latios blew me away. I was very surprised by that. He didn't bring Ditto against me, which again was weird because I kept bringing like set up Gardevoir. Golbat, I thought was really strange that he brought Golbat against the Mega Gardevoir team. I don't know. It was just really interesting to me that he brought Golbat against my team. I just didn't see it doing much against me at all. I don't remember. Tracheon was Z-move, I think. And I sacked Minior to the Tracheon or something like that. Oh no, I sacked Minior to the Assault Vest, Torrent, and Polion. It was burned, and yet because of the Torrent boost, Liquidation killed me. I don't know what to say about that. Like, my Minior probably could have beaten his team, and that happened. It was just so sad. It was really sad to me, honestly. I thought that was a game that I could have won, and I still haven't beaten Krabby yet, and I feel like I've just had the opportunity to, and something stupid happens constantly. I got hacked at the beginning of this game so much. I don't know what to say about that. What was my team for that? We brought Spadef Rotom-Wash with a lot of speed on it. Pretty standard Skarmory. Sub Smash Minior. I brought Sub Smash for the Ditto, and I went to this painstaking trouble of figuring out this EV spread that was like the perfect EV spread for his team, and it just did nothing with Rocky MZ. AV Serena, which did nothing. Oh my god, if this has all been cut off, I'm so dumb. I need to do it this way. AV Serena, which, again, did nothing. Hyper Voice, Taunt, Focus Blast, Sub. Gardevoir, we missed a Focus Blast on the Empoleon. Could have been really clutch if I hit that Focus Blast. We would have been in a much better position. And I brought Scarf Weavile with Brick Break and Ice Punch instead of Icicle Crash because I didn't want to miss. Excuse me, and Ice Punch actually could have won me the game. I was in a position where Ice Punch could have won me the game if I crit the Empoleon, and I didn't. So, oh well. Shit happens, you know. Week 6, we played Dom, and again, we only lost this game because the Tornadus got a 50% roll to kill me with the Psychic. There was a 50% chance of it killing me, 50% chance that I lived with the Nidoking, and my Scarf Nidoking was locked into Ice Beam, which would have won the game for me. No Haxorus against me was very strange. Mega Absol is a bad mon, and he barely brought it at all. No Electivire. I expected Alolan Persian didn't come, which was weird. Klefki didn't come, which was weird. He brought Z-Fly Lando and just like blew it on my Serena, I think. Can't exactly remember. He really didn't have much for Mega Gardevoir on the team, from what I remember, and Mega Gardevoir looked so strong against him. I brought a Hyper Voice Psyshock Wish Heal Bell set to deal with the Klefki statusing me and just being able to Psyshock it to death. I actually brought no item Pickpocket Weavile because I had no idea how Pickpocket worked, but we ended up stealing a leftovers from the Kecleon because it hit me, which was really cool. This was a really neat Weavile set. Physically defensive Rotom-Wash, which absolutely hard-walled Lando and a bunch of stuff. I don't remember what happened to this. Serena does nothing ever. I was an Occaberry set for Infernape. We could eat an Infernape hit and then U-turn out, or Chop Kick or Knockoff or whatever. Scarf Nidoking looked like it was going to win me the game and it didn't. And Skarmory was also completely worthless, and this hard-walled Lando as well, and I didn't do anything about it. He ended up... There was one play I could have made where I could have absolutely won this game a lot harder than I did. He ended up hard swapping into Infernape on my Skarmory when I set up rocks, and if I'd Brave Birded, he swapped out of Delmise into Infernape, and if I'd Brave Birded, his Infernape would have been dead and my Skarmory would have been alive, but instead he got an overheat off, and that was really annoying. Week 7 we played Andy. Again, if I hit the Hydro Pumps with Rotom-Wash, we win this game. He brought Z-Move Alakazam, which was really strange, instead of like Focus Blast or Life Orb. Z-Move Alakazam is so bad. I just want to say it is really horrible when you can run Focus Sash or Life Orb with Magic Guard. Not worry about rocks breaking your Sash, or not worry about Life Orb recoil to give you like a huge boost in power. But Z-Move? I don't know. Z-Move Alakazam is just really... It's not what I would have chosen on this team to be his other Z-Move user. Besides Hydreigon, I would have definitely chosen Honchkrow. Absolutely would have chosen Honchkrow there. I don't know. Very strange. Very strange. No Tapu Fini against me was really strange. I don't know. It was weird what he brought against me. Licky Licky like hard-walled my team, which was unfortunate. I just had nothing to break Licky Licky. Which was a fault of my drafting. I didn't draft a good fighting type at all. I don't even think I drafted a fighting type. So I did. I drafted Girder, but Girder didn't match up well against his team with things like Tapu Fini, Honchkrow, Sigilyph. I was really worried about Sigilyph. Alakazam, like Girder looked really bad against him. I ended up bringing Tangaberry Serena to eat a U-turn from the Mega Scizor and be able to U-turn out myself. I was getting more creative with the Serena sets because I realized the Serena was just really bad. Life Orb Nidoking could have broken through his team, didn't. It didn't do enough damage to the Licky. Even being Life Orb boosted Sludge Waves just were not doing enough. Mega Gardevoir, another game where it did pretty much nothing. I had the HP Fire on there for this Mega Scizor, and I had Destiny Bond to prevent it from getting a Bullet Punch off on me without killing itself. AV Incineroar, I had to bring Superpower for the Licky because I had nothing for it. A Selgor, I brought Specs of Selgor because Bug Buzz looked super good against his team. And then I brought a Scarf Rotom-Wash, and Hydro Pump could have won me the game at the end, but I didn't get it didn't, unfortunately. Week 8, we played Ruben and the Dallas Cobalions. This was a really good comeback game. I brought a Taunt Wish Gardevoir, which I choked with, but I could have done even better with. Physically defensive Skarmory, which put in a lot of work. AV Incineroar, which didn't do as much as I thought because he brought Banded Arcanine. Leftovers HP Poison Rotom-Wash. HP Poison was there for the Tapu Bulu, which didn't even come because I thought Tapu Bulu would have been his switch into Rotom-Wash after he'd scouted to see that I didn't have Will-O-Wisp. I had to bring Shadow Ball because Zipstrika was such a problem against my team. Banded Weavile did work against him. I'm not going to lie, Banded Weavile could have done a whole lot of damage, and I left it in the back, I think, the entire time. This was an interesting Mega Gardevoir set that didn't pay off, and then Life Orb Venomoth ended up sweeping. At the end of the game there, I hit a Sleep Powder on the Melodic, and unfortunately I got first turn Wake, but I still ended up sweeping. Week 9, we played Brady in the Denver Rapidash, and he had a bulky boy team. He had a bulky team. He didn't bring his bulk. There was no Pex, there was no Miltank. He brought like an offensive Clef against me. No Superior, which I was really scared about. And yeah, he didn't bring Glaceon. Durant didn't have a great matchup despite it being a really powerful Mon. Vikavolt, he brought like a Trick Room strat against me, and you can see I even made a note about Trick Room here. Because I was really scared about Trick Room against my team. And what did I bring against him? I brought Fizdef Skarm, seems to be a trend. Specs Rotom-Wash, which put in a lot of work, if I remember. AV Incineroar, which is like its best set apparently. White Herb, Smash, Minior, which I don't even think I had to use. I think I just sacked Minior actually to like a Rocky MZ. Yeah, I sacked it to a Rocky MZ Mienshao. Scarf Nidoking, which cleaned up the game, I think. I can't exactly remember. Ground EMZ, SD, Dig, Weavile. This was my way to beat the Toxpex, which didn't come. And so this Weavile set was almost completely useless. The only thing I remember being able to use the Dig on was like the Mega Charizard X, which didn't even come in until the end and rocks were up, so it was like half. But yeah, that was that matchup. And then last week we played Jake. I built a meme team. I deleted it since then, so if you want to go check that out, check out my team builder for this, because I don't have the meme team anymore. I'm not going to show it off in this video. I actually deleted it just yesterday, actually. He had an interesting team, not a great matchup against me. Things like Mega Venusaur looked horrible against my team, and that was like the backbone of his defensive pivoting, which was really cool because I had a great matchup. And I actually had a really good matchup against Dan and the New York Metapods, which I never got to show off. And I'll talk about that in a little bit after I talk about Jake, I guess, in my matchup against Jake. He brought a Salac Tailglow Manaphy set against me. I could have won this game 6-0 if I won the second speed tie against the Manaphy, because he ended up clicking Tailglow on my Mega Gardevoir. I killed Aerodactyl with Mega Gardevoir turn 2. And then he set up with Manaphy on my Mega Gardevoir, and I won the speed tie the first time, and then lost the speed tie the second time. And if I'd won the speed tie the second time, his Manaphy wouldn't have even gotten a hit off, and Mega Gardevoir would have still been alive. If Magnezone came in, it wasn't a sturdy Magnezone, it was Analytic, and HP Ground would have one-shot that. He didn't bring Kyurem. What else? Victini didn't stand a chance against my Mega Gardevoir, but it could have come in and like Scarf Revenge killed me. Drapion, I could have gotten a hit off with the Hyper Voice or saved my Mega Gardevoir for later. Like, it really didn't matter. And Hitmontop was not living a hit from Mega Gardevoir either, despite it being Assault Vest. So, I was really proud of my matchup, and it just didn't, I don't know. One speed tie just almost lost me the game. Guts Swallow was really solid against him. It put in a lot of work, honestly. AV Serena did nothing once again. Big surprise there. Lefties, Rotom-Wash did some work, I think. And I ended up winning with Shell Smash Minior, but I also had Scarf Nidoking in the back, which didn't have to clean up necessarily. So those are the matchups, and then we'll sort of touch on my matchup against Dan really quickly here because I felt that I had a really good one. So where's Dan's team? So here it is. He's got Zygarde 50%, Stakataka, Snorlax, Azumarill, or Salazzle, Rotom-Mow, Pangoro, Shuckle, Mega Pidgeot, Azumarill, Necrozma, Spiritomb, and Ferroseed. Weavile does so much work to this team. Running Low Kick Weavile, Ice Crash or Ice Shard deals with Zygarde, Low Kick deals with Stakataka, deals with Snorlax, Salazzle's not living a knockoff, Rotom-Mow doesn't appreciate Ice Stab, Pangoro doesn't want to Low Kick, Shuckle doesn't want to Low Kick, Mega Pidgeot doesn't like Icicle Crash, and I outspeed Mega Pidgeot guaranteed. Azumarill does appreciate the hits, that's about it. Necrozma doesn't appreciate a knockoff, same with Spiritomb. Ferroseed doesn't like a low kick. Like, Weavile just did so much work to his team. What else did I have? Skarmory hardwalled the Zygarde to an extent. It hardwalled the Stakataka. Skarmory dealt with the Azumarill relatively well. I could live a hit from the Azumarill and phase it if it was Belly Drum. What else did I have in mind? Incineroar, I think, completely hardwalled the Salazzle. It hardwalled the Mega Pidgeot. Incineroar was a really easy way to deal with Snorlax as well. Rotom-Mow. It dealt with the Necrozma. I mean, I had double Dark for the Necrozma. There's no way that thing was coming against me. I actually want to say Girder had a really good matchup against him. It could set up on the Stakataka and the Snorlax and just pile drive this team. Outside of Mega Pidgeot, obviously. Mega Gardevoir looked so good against Zygarde. Maybe that was it. Well, Zygarde and Spiritomb, it just looked really good against. Nidoking looked like it tore this team apart with Earth Power, Ice Beam. That was probably it, actually. Earth Power and Ice Beam just like tear most of the team apart, bar Snorlax. I thought that it was a really good match. Oh, Sludge Wave for the Azumarill. Like, Nidoking looked really solid. Flamethrower for the Ferroseed. That was probably the set that I would have run. It looked really solid against him. I don't know. I just felt like I had a really solid matchup against him, and unfortunately I didn't get to match up against him because I would have liked to show off how strong of a matchup my team had, but it's okay. Dan's going to be in the finals against Ben, and whatever. Playoff breakdown. So, in terms of the playoffs, I think Jay and Ben making it to the semis was inevitable, just because Jay had a decent matchup against Jake anyways, and I felt that Jake hadn't had a great end to his season. Unfortunately for Jake, because I think he's a really solid battler, but he just ended up, after his loss to me, I really sort of, like, he looked undefeated, and then in my matchup, in our match, he just looked really shaky to me. It might not have only been the matchup, that's just how I felt at least. Yeah, so Jay against Ben, I actually think Jay could have won both of his matchups against Ben. I think he beat him the first time, actually, in week 1. Yeah, he did. So I did feel like Jay could have beaten Ben and been in the finals, but Ben against Dan in the finals, I really do feel like Ben's going to win. He's got the matchup on paper. There's pretty much all you can do about it. You guys actually can't see this, but I can't scroll down any further, so I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know. We'll sort of see how it goes. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is my all-time kills list. So hopefully you guys can see this at least. Yeah, you can if I scroll properly. So everything that I have is highlighted in yellow. I've actually sorted this since the last time you guys would have seen this in my NCL Season 1 recap. But Flygon came to 1 game, died once. Dusclops came to 2 games, died both times, got 1 kill passively on the Araquanid. Serena is horrible. I've used it twice now in SAPL Season 3 and aABL Season 4. 10 games played, 9 deaths, 1 kill. Bad mon. I'm not drafting Serena again. I don't care if it's a grass rapid spinner. It's bad. I'm not good with it. I'm not drafting it again. Ambipom didn't come to any games, but I did draft it. So I've had it in 2 seasons of UPBA and aABL, although UPBA Season 2, I only had 2 games played because that league ended early, and aABL Season 4, it came to none. So realistically, these 4 games are all from UPBA Season 1, and 1 game of UPBA Season 2, I think. I'm still a big fan of Ambipom. I think it's very niche in what it does, though. Here's a nice grouping of them. Skarmory is bad. I hate Skarmory with a passion. It's so horrible. I've only had it in 2 seasons. It's come to 13 games. It's died 10 times. Only has 2 kills. Really bad mon. I absolutely hate Skarmory. Girder, I'm a fan of. I've had it in NCL and aABL now. 4 games, 2 kills, 1 death. Its 1 death is in aABL, so there you go. It came to like 3 games in NCL and did nothing, but in aABL it actually picked up 2 kills and 1 death in the 1 game that it came to. Incineroar, I'm not a huge fan of. 5 games, 4 deaths, 2 kills. Minior, 3 games, 2 deaths, 2 kills. I mean, I had to sack it off twice, and then there was 1 game where it actually got the end game sweep. Not a huge fan of Minior though. Venomoth I am a huge fan of, 3-1 in 2 games. It's actually pretty decent. Swellow I'm actually a big fan of, 6 games now from between D&D and aABL, 3 kills, 4 deaths. I'm actually a big fan of Swellow. I think it's a really good revenge killer and it's a really good wall breaker. A Selgor I'm a huge fan of despite the stat line. I've only had it in 2 leagues now, LET and aABL. 11 games, 10 deaths, 3 kills. I do have a Z-move kill with it actually in LET. I managed to savage spin out a Whimsicott switching in on me, which was really fun. Mega Gardevoir, I wasn't a big fan of. It came to 8 games, got 4 kills, died 7 times. It's probably not my speed. Honestly, it's just not fast enough for me. It hits hard, it's a decent special wall. It's too weak on the defensive side, and it's just not fast enough. That's just how I feel about it. Rotom-Wash, I was okay with. I wouldn't. It's not my favorite Rotom form to draft, as I said at the beginning. I really feel like Rotom Heat and Rotom Mow have been a lot more successful for me. Rotom Wash, 6 kills in 8 games. It died all 8 games that I brought it to. Oh well, what are you going to do about it? I didn't have any 6-0s, and I also didn't get 6-0'd, so whatever. Then we're getting up to the better mons here, so we got Weavile, which I've drafted 3 times now. In CCBL Season 1, I actually picked up that team and it only had 3 games to potentially play in. So it's been in 9 games, 13 kills, and 5 deaths. I'm really proud of Weavile. It's been really solid for me in the games that I've used it in. SAPL Season 4, I had 1 game with it, and then I dropped it. So that's not a good description of how long I've been using this, because I really haven't been using Weavile that long. I'm just a big fan of it. And then last but not least is Nidoking, and after sorting it, after just LET Season 1 and aABL Season 4, it has 22 kills and 8 deaths. This thing is a monster. I love using it. It's 3rd on my all-time kill list, behind Magearna and Mimikyu, 2 of my favorite sweeper mons to use. And I don't know, I'm just a big fan of Nidoking. I think Nidoking is really cool. I'm using it in the GBA Fan Draft League right now. It's a really sick wall breaker, and I'm a big fan of Nidoking. So that's going to be about it for me. I don't really have anything else to talk about. Hopefully you guys enjoyed aABL this season. If you were a coach, and if you are one of my viewers, then hopefully you enjoyed my aABL content. They run this league fairly sporadically, but I do have... I was the champion of the Shiny Hunting Tournament, so I do have a guaranteed entry into any event that they do. If they do another Shiny Hunting event, I might enter. I don't really have the time or the hunts like I did when the actual competition was going on, but I might be able to at least get guaranteed entry into the next aABL season. So you should probably see me in aABL Season 5. If it's randomized again, then I will definitely be using my free one on or my guaranteed entry on that. So anyways, that's going to be it for me, and hopefully you guys enjoyed aABL, and I'll catch you guys for the rest of my videos.